The story is told about a rabbi in the Holy Land who was visiting a monastery. He noticed that there was a sense of sadness and even animosity among the monks in the monastery. So he said to the superior of the monks, um, I've received a vision telling me that the Messiah is here in this monastery. Imagine. The superior immediately asked, of course, well, where is he? I don't see him. What does he look like? The rabbi replied, I'm not allowed to tell you. Just let the monks know that, well, so that they can be on the lookout. Okay? The rabbi returned a month later, and to his great surprise, the monastery was different. Each monk was showing true kindness and love to each other. Naturally, yes. Well, what happened? What happened was a realization that the Messiah is right here and right now. This is exactly what Elizabeth was saying to Mary in the gospel today. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb. And how does this happen? That the mother of my Lord should come to me. This is just another way of saying, wake up, the Messiah is here now. The second reading from the book of Hebrews says, sacrifice and offering you did not desire, but a body you have prepared for me. Before Christ, the emphasis was placed on the sacrifice, the killing of a goat or a sheep. Why? To be assured that through this kind of ritual, God would not stay distant and separate. Rather than continue these ritual sacrifices, Jesus himself came to be the body mentioned in this reading. Christ came to make real what is all important. We are all one. Christ came to do away with all separation and distance, to be the opposite of that. Imagine God who was out there somewhere. The birth of Jesus, the Christ, is a universal sign that there never was any distance or gap, that we have always been in God for all eternity. Christ became the divine reminderer. My friends, we've all made promises. We've all broken promises. And we've suffered when others have broken promises to us. I think of all those who have made promises to a love commitment, I know the pain that we all see daily because of these broken promises. We're all desperately looking for examples of a kept promise. But this is what gives us hope. Pope Francis said that hope is the savoring of the wonder of love. Hope is the savoring of the wonder of love. The birth of Jesus the Christ is a universal sign that there never was any distance or gap, that we have always been in God for all eternity. Jesus came to say, fear not, for I have called you by name. You are mine. Today we celebrate that God is, was, and always will be faithful to God's promise. It's interesting to note that for God's promise to Micah and Isaiah and so many other prophets, God needed someone to say yes, to say, like Mary, let it be done to me. God needed some generous and trusting person to agree to enter a relationship of love. that the world has never seen or heard. In order for what? For the solemn promise of all promises to be made real. God incarnate, Emmanuel, God with us. There were many players on the stage in preparation for this final climactic scene when all eternity held its breath for our Jewish maiden, a teenage girl of about 14, to literally change history. Think about it. The very identity of Jesus depended on one response. This was just the beginning of a new way of looking at the relationship between God and each one of us. Christmas is another way of saying that the promise of all promises is real. I will be with you always until the end of time. Merry Christmas is another way of saying this promise of always being with me and in me is all I need to experience true joy. Nothing can separate us from the joy that, well, no experience can ever take away from us. As you greet one another at this Christmas time by saying Merry Christmas, let's be aware that we are reaffirming the reason behind any and every message or mention of joy. The Messiah is here. Christ is here now. And the relationship of love that this makes real is the present and the presence that overcomes all fear and anxiety. One of the greatest experiences in the world today is anxiety. This Messiah, this God of love, loves each one of us without measure, without counting the cost. I ask you, do we really need anyone else to be on the lookout for?